Today I'll be reviewing S.H.Monsterarts Godzilla Ultima from Godzilla Singular Point. This would be the final form, the ultimate form that Godzilla accomplishes throughout evolving in the anime film, going through difficult times and adapting to the world and crushing its enemies and all that stands beneath and in front of Godzilla Ultima. This would make it the second adaptation that we see a Godzilla be done in anime form, and it is a really awesome anime. I recommend you to check it out if you're into anime yourself. Now for additional accessories, I wouldn't really call them accessories, more like bonus editions. You get the original Jet Jaguar, the first form, and then you get the final form of Jet Jaguar holding his famous weapon from Anguirus, and they look decent enough for such a small size. I have to say, even though they're very small, they don't offer any source of articulation or any paint job. They are really great for their size and wish we could have gotten more. Now the other accessory, this one I would consider accessory because it's part of what makes Godzilla Ultima even better. You get the open wide Godzilla Ultima head, which looks really impressive compared to the original that simply cannot accomplish this type of pose. It looks a lot better. Now I will do a size comparison so you get an idea of Jet Jaguar versus the whole figure, and I suppose this is accurate. Jet Jaguar would be about this size. Godzilla Ultima, I have to say, after taking my time messing with the articulation, looking at the ups and downs, I would have to say Godzilla Ultima has become one of my favorite S.H.Monsterarts figures. Why? Because the accessories are not the best, but when it comes to articulation and the amount of details this figure has, it's really incredible. Well, yes, it might not have the best articulation in some areas, it makes it up in other areas that makes this figure even better. When it comes to its design from the anime, it really captures that anime type of feeling that you got to see during the scenes. Really poseable, really detailed. One of the best features that you could possibly have on this figure would be the tail. No doubt that's one of the best features. It's one of the hyped features and one of the most impressive things that we have seen in quite some time after Shin Godzilla. This particular figure captures lots of details. Unlike Bandai, the soft vinyl, you can see that throughout the figure, the tail, even the feet, this figure seems to capture lots of details. You can see the individual scales going throughout his body. Now, I find myself really enjoying articulation and really just having my time with this figure compared to other figures in quite some time. While others have great articulation, I never really had fun. What I mean by fun is posing this figure, finding different ways to do other cool poses. That's the fun for me, just having to admire how incredible the tail articulation, how long it is, and that's something I couldn't do with other figures, so that's a plus for me definitely. And one of the other issues that lots of people seem to have is the face. A lot of people were saying that the face was off, that they didn't like how this particular figure was designed. For me personally, I was with you guys and I felt that there was something off. Although in person, after looking at it, messing around with the articulation, it's not as bad as you see in pictures. In person, the design really looks beautiful. So it really depends what type of figure you get. You can get a really great sharp figure. Others can have messy teeth or paint. It really depends. Like I said, Monsterarts is always full of surprises. But for me personally, I like the figure that I got today. It's still one of my favorites, I would have to say, because of the colors. You see the dorsal plates, they have a beautiful type of cream color to the dorsals, and then you have that red type of vein going throughout them, and that's really something I like. Another unique thing about this figure is the spikes that you see throughout his head, throughout his body. That's another unique thing, and we haven't really seen Godzilla be designed or formed in this type of particular way in quite some time. After Shin Godzilla, that was one of the biggest transformations that we have seen with Godzilla. In many ways, this is a big change for Godzilla, and I would have to say it's a very welcoming change for me. At the beginning, I wasn't a fan, but after watching the anime, understanding the story, you really come to understand why you get to see the ultimate transformation of Godzilla. Now the feet and the claws are done in a white type of cream yellowish color. Personally, I would have went with a different type of color, though this is film accurate to the anime, and I would have to agree it is the color that we see on film. And again, the dorsal plates are one of the things that I really like about this Godzilla versus others, because we really don't see that type of red vein popping out throughout the dorsal plates like on Godzilla 2014 or other Godzillas throughout the Toho universe. This particular design is something, like I said, unique. It's the ultimate form, and I really do like how random and unique you get to see this Godzilla evolving throughout the film, and I really like that. Now when it comes to the head sculpture and the mouth, it's not that bad. Like I said, I didn't get really type of derpy eyes. It's more of the paint job. The paint job is not the best on the eyes, but it could be improved definitely. The mouth area could also be improved, but it's not the worst. When it comes to the dorsal plates, I don't really see any problems with them. They look nice and sharp. Of course, be careful with that. If you're a kid, I recommend you to handle this figure with care and ease, because you can really hurt yourself. Now talking about the accessories, as I mentioned, I don't really see them as accessories except for the Godzilla head, because it's part of Godzilla Ultima. Jet Jaguar, I would consider them a bonus edition or bonus points for this figure, because they don't really add up anything unique to Godzilla Ultima. It's not part of his body, though they are unique additions, I would have to say, and they overall have nice details. You can really get incredible photos, incredible videos with them, though I question why Monster Arts didn't took the extra mile to customize them or actually take their time to paint them when they could easily have done that. You know, if you're going to add something, you might as well just finish what you started. It feels odd to receive an accessory or bonuses like that are completely unpainted, and it would have been a nice addition definitely to see both the Jet Jaguars completely painted. And yeah, I think overall it would have added more life to those little statues, because of course they have no articulation, but they do add a unique little touch to Godzilla Ultima in some ways. But again, I really don't consider them any accessories. Going back to the design on the head, it's not really bad. The only bad area that you can really tell is the eyes. When you really zoom in with the camera or take a photo, looking at it directly with your eyes, it's nearly impossible to tell if you have derpy eyes, if your teeth are sharp enough. It's really impossible. Overall, if you look at the figure from a distance or normal distance, it's really an amazing figure. When we talk about the cons and pros, this particular figure might have one of the best articulation that we have seen ever since Shin Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was an ambitious figure trying to do the impossible with articulation. I'm happy to say that Godzilla Ultima really surpasses everything that Shin Godzilla could do. It's a really great figure. Now when it comes to articulation, I'll be showing you some articulation right here. Now the head doesn't really move, but the mouth is a little bit tricky. Now you guys can see that the top area moves. It opens and closes, but the bottom one really doesn't move. Now if you were to take your time and actually do your review and actually test this figure, you would actually notice that there is a trick to get the bottom jaw to move, as you see right now. Just push the head to the top and you'll get movement on the top area and bottom area. Now normally you would never notice this because the figure is in a direction or pose straight forward. That means that you won't get any articulation at the bottom jaw. But of course, if you take your time and move that head up like I'm doing it right here, you can actually get articulation both directions. Now for the arms and hands, this is the type of articulation you get. I will say it's definitely an improvement versus Godzilla 2021. That one, I find that the arms really don't move forwards and backwards. With this one, if you take your time, there's definitely tricks here and there, and it really works perfectly. Now, a lot of people had concerns about that type of sleeve that you see right next to the arms. That part won't fall apart because it's part of Godzilla on the back area. Now, articulation on the legs, it's really great. As you see right now on the video, you can really pose them going forwards and backwards. You get articulation on the knee, and the claw at the bottom sort of moves, but you don't really get that type of crazy articulation. I don't really think it's needed there, but it's still a nice addition. Now, depending how you pose your figure, you can really hide the sleeve that you see on the top area, but the best part, as I said, is the tail. This is one of the best parts about this figure, and you were constantly reminded on the anime how massive and long that tail actually was throughout the different forms. But the best one would have to be the Ultima form, for sure. Now, with that being said, it still has some problems. As you see, because it's so massive, it's so heavy that it falls right away. That's the only downside that I see about this tail. It doesn't come apart that easily like Shin Godzilla. If you remember Shin Godzilla, you cannot achieve this sort of pose. 95% of what you see on Godzilla Ultima cannot be achieved with Shin Godzilla, simply because the engineering on articulation is definitely an improvement, and you can definitely feel that the material is different from the figure itself. It feels more premium, it feels more heavy, and that's the downside about that as well. Because of how much articulation, because of how long the tail is, as soon as you pick this figure up, the tail comes right down right away. But the best part is that it's not falling apart, it's not breaking like Shin Godzilla. If you remember, Shin Godzilla would automatically fall, and I remember my original figure had lots of problems, and that's something that I didn't like. Now, as you see, there's no articulation in the back area, but there's some trick to get him to hunch over. It's all in the legs, simple as that. A lot of people were asking, I can't recreate the Shin Godzilla pose because it simply does not hunch over. Simple, just use the legs. The key here on this figure is it might not offer the best articulation on the back area to hunch over, but the key area is on the legs. Use the legs and the tail to hunch over Godzilla Ultima, and you can still recreate and do all the poses that Shin Godzilla was capable of, and even do better because of how long the arms actually are and how different the engineering on this figure is. Monster Arts has come a long way ever since Shin Godzilla, and you can definitely see the evolution and premium quality when you compare both of them with each other. It's definitely a step above in every single way that you can imagine. I'm definitely very happy about this figure. I'm really happy because of how fun I'm having with the poses. The articulation is really crazy. Now to take a look at the other head. This is how you do it to switch it. Be careful with your hands and fingers because of course this figure is sharp. So I do recommend you to use some type of gloves or just be careful. Pop it out like this or use a hair dryer to make things a lot easier. Now I did struggle right there because this figure was sort of stiff around the head area, but it's easy to pop back in and you just have to attach it to the ball joint, and easy as that. Now keep in mind, the accessory head with the wide mouth does not offer any type of articulation like the original. That's the difference between both of them, that the original can't achieve this sort of pose. Now this accessory is a really nice addition to Godzilla Ultima. It really adds a different take to this figure, and as far as I can tell, there's no difference with the original, which I'll do a comparison. But when we're talking about details, it's really nicely detailed, and you don't get to see crazy messy type of paint here and there. I would have to argue it depends on your figure. You could get a really good one or a bad one, but overall it's decent. Now comparing both of the heads, I really couldn't find any differences between them when we're talking about sculpture and details. The only difference that I could possibly see with my eyes is on the teeth and sort of on the eyes. The eyes are painted differently because obviously they are done by hand. When it comes to the teeth, some of them are sharper on the wider mouth, while on the original they're sort of type of messy, but still they're not that bad. On both of them they're really good, but I'm just noticing that the differences are one of them has white teeth while the other one has a sort of yellowish touch. Some of them have sharper teeth, the other one has more messy teeth, but overall they're still good. The second difference can be found on the wider mouth, which is the 3 holes that you see Godzilla Ultima shooting his atomic breath in the anime. That's the difference that you see between both of them. As far as I can tell with my eyes, the original doesn't have those 3 holes. I can imagine that that would definitely affect articulation on the one that does offer that versus the one that simply has no articulation. Going back, the differences between them are very little. As I mentioned, maybe you find differences in colors, around the teeth, around the mouth, but overall both of them look really awesome. And I know people were complaining about the design, but I still find this to be a really great design. My final thoughts about this figure and the cons. The cons would be that this figure really doesn't offer any extra accessories when it comes to his atomic breath, which was famously used in the anime, and it's such a disappointment. I would rather have accessories like atomic breaths or buildings or something that adds a better sort of useful ability to this figure than little statues. It's definitely a missed opportunity for Monster Arts, and I hope that they definitely change that for the special color version and add more unique accessories. The other down part about this figure would be the tail. As I mentioned, it's really heavy and it falls down, but other than that, this would be a 9 out of 9 figure, really close to 10. It's really enjoyable. If you're thinking about picking this figure up, I really do recommend it. You're going to have really fun with this figure. It's a great figure, amazing design, really colorful. It really captures the anime design that we got to see. Again, let me know your thoughts about this review. Let me know your thoughts about the figure. This is pretty much it for me. This is Ruby Game X. I'm out. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification.